Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. Now guys, I know I mostly talk about XRP and Bitcoin on this channel. I do touch on other cryptocurrencies from time to time. And so for those of you in the audience who trade other cryptocurrencies, was Matic one of those cryptocurrencies? Because it looks as though Matic has collapsed 70% in 1 hour. Now, here is the Matic chart, and guys, I just wanted to bring this up not because I'm a fan of Matic, not because I'm against Matic, but because I want to explain to you that I'm 95% sure, no, actually probably about 98% sure that this was a pump and dump scheme. When you look at the chart, guys, when you look at what was going on over the last 2 weeks, Matic just all of a sudden saw a dramatic increase in price, okay? And then look at this sell-off. Guys, this is the Matic USD chart on the hourly. And just look at the sell-off, bringing it right back down, essentially to where it began. And so this is the same kind of thing that happens all the time with news, albeit when you have one party controlling most of the supply of the cryptocurrency or the stock, you are bound to see this kind of reaction with all the hype, the pump, and then the sell-off, the dump. So I hope you guys realize that, in a speculative market, and this is exactly what we're in, and possibly a pump and dump, this is the kind of activity you are going to see. You're going to see major gains in the short term and then a huge sell-off. So then you may say, well, then is the cryptocurrency market a giant pump and dump? If we look at the charts for any cryptos from the bull run back in 2017, well, in a way, it was a collective pump and dump. It was FOMO. The market was being pumped and people were rushing in, media latched on, Bitcoin at an all-time high, other cryptocurrencies doing well, including XRP, 37 or whatever it was, 38,000% rise in that calendar year. And then everybody realized, look, these are pretty good gains. I'm going to start dumping. And then the market collapsed. And so I guess in a way, it could be considered a collective pump and dump. But guys, this is Matic. This is just one coin. We aren't seeing any other cryptocurrencies doing this. So again, I hope you guys didn't get tied up in this. And if you did, and you bought near the high, looks like you're in to hodl this for the next little while. Or maybe you're going to sell off. Guys, this is not financial advice by any means. I just find this kind of interesting, when I see these anomalies in the crypto market. I like taking a look at some of these charts and, surmising and postulating what could be the reason for this. And this just reeks of pump and dump to me, but that's just my opinion. Guys, I saw this on Twitter from Michael at Val5Links, and he links this article here. XRP fans rejoice as Bank of America names Ripple innovative technology maker. And so one of the world's largest and most influential banks, Bank of America, admits that Ripple offers a truly innovative solution and mentions it in a report. However, despite the good news for the Ripple community, whether it will impact the XRP price positively remains a question. Well, guys, we know that news doesn't necessarily impact the price of XRP. We're going to see it come slowly but surely in a spec market with Bitcoin, with the rest of the cryptocurrency space. But we're also waiting ultimately for real world utility at that large scale when we know high quality, high value payments are going to be transferred using ODL eventually. So a major XRP follower on Twitter who goes by the name of Bank XRP has shared a screenshot. So guys, this article taken from Bank XRP screen grab here. Ripple's distributed ledger solution remedies legacy correspondent banking infrastructure challenges and provides bidirectional messaging to enhance payment tracking, data transmission, and enables enhanced certainty in settlement. And he links this here, guys. This is screen grab from Bank XRP's Twitter, of course. So this super great news. Mainstream banking is looking in Ripple's direction and they're realizing the benefits they can derive from the technology. It was hush-hush over the last few years, but I think that now that cryptocurrencies are making a name for themselves in a different light, so as not to be, synonymous with crime and all that stuff, cryptocurrencies really are making headway, and they've been doing it over the last few years, silently, quietly, right, away from the limelight. But you and I in the crypto space, despite it being still not mainstream, it seems as though witnessing it all the time. We're continually hearing updated news about policymakers, financial institutions, companies, looking towards cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to enhance their products and their services. And that's kind of what's bittersweet about it. The fact that we know so much is great because we know we're on the right side of innovation, but at the same time, it kind of clouds our minds a little bit because we feel like everybody should know all this. And when we're hearing news about mainstream big American banks coming out and saying, Ripple is a solution, we've known this all along. And so, at least I feel like saying, well, duh, haven't you guys figured this out by now? But we got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They've got to do their due diligence, and governments really do have to regulate this quicker than they have been. Guys, I saw this article here from Bloomberg, and so Deutsche Bank gives crypto enthusiasts some hope to hang on. Now, guys, this is forecasting into the next decade. After a rough start to life, cryptocurrencies may be on the cusp of a breakout decade if Deutsche Bank AG contrarian call comes true. Rising doubts about the sustainability of government-backed currencies amid higher inflation could drive more people to digital assets, says Deutsche Bank strategist Jim Reed, and he wrote this in the firm's Imagine 2030 report on 24 alternative ideas for the next 10 years. The forces that have held the current fiat system together now look fragile, and they could unravel in the 2020s, Reed wrote. If so, that will start to lead to a backlash against fiat money, and demand for alternative currencies such as gold or crypto could soar. Reed highlighted the runaway inflation and surge in gold in the 70s following the end of the gold-backed monetary system. Rather than give credit to central banks for clamping down on inflation, the strategist pointed to the rise of China as the biggest suppressor of global inflation of the last 4 decades, thanks to a massive surge in the supply of labor. But that's ending as the peak of the working-age population was reached over the past decade. Thus, governments may increasingly shift policy towards workers left behind by globalization, adding fiscal spending instead of extending extensive monetary policy, which has mostly benefited owners of capital and assets over labor, according to the report. So guys, all this goes to show you, and I'm going to keep reading here. I didn't think I was going to read the whole article, but I think it's really important to listen to this one. If and when labor costs rise at the margin rather than fall, there will likely be a more difficult environment for policymakers, Reed said. And where politicians are worried about elections, it is likely that inflation will be the casualty. Eventually, inflation could become more and more embedded, and doubts about state-sponsored money may increase, he wrote, leading to rising demand for alternative currencies. Guys, this is what he's saying. The jig's up, essentially. How much longer can these governments fool their people with a broken system? And this is going to create the biggest FOMO bull run that you could imagine. Okay, what they're saying is once this system begins to unravel, it will be game over. People will be taking their money out of fiat and putting it not just into cryptocurrencies, into gold, precious metals, he's saying, other types of methods to store value. But guys, Bitcoin, XRP, other cryptocurrencies are going to see an influx. And this is why you and I are on the correct side of innovation if we hold our cryptocurrencies over 10 years. I'm going to put out 10 years because look at where Bitcoin went in the last 10 years. If we held our cryptocurrencies for 10 years, I can almost guarantee you, now guys, this is not financial advice, but I can almost guarantee you that we will be millionaires, if not billionaires, some of us, depending on how much you hold. And this isn't so far-fetched. If somebody were to have said this 10 years ago, it may have seemed maybe a little more far-fetched because we were so much further behind and we didn't know what we didn't know. Now it's 10 years in the future. Bitcoin has done what it has done over the last decade. New cryptocurrencies are entering the space. Companies like Ripple are really innovating to make sure the world of finance flows smoothly. And only time will tell. I know it seems like a long time, 10 years to hold cryptocurrency, but realistically, if waiting 10 years and working for the next 10 years could make you a millionaire, multimillionaire, let's say, because I think 10 years is a really, really long time frame, if not a billionaire, depending on how much crypto you hold today, wouldn't you do it? Think about how old you are. then think how old you'll be in 10 years, and then think to yourself, is it worth it? Of course, maybe if we're 70 or 65, 70, 75, maybe it isn't worth it because, we're older. Most of our life has passed us by. But guys, think if you're 25, 35, 45, even 55. Cryptocurrency is going to be life-changing. And to that point, I saw this tweet from Andreas H. at Swedish_gold on Twitter. Some reasons why banks take time to adopt Ripple and DLT. They just don't sign on a deal and use it. Adoption takes time. And guys, this from the Accenture report. I mentioned this report in a former video, but I wanted to go over this because I think some of these points are very, very important to think about. Here are the actions banks should take to set up a cross-border payments network using distributed ledger technology. Okay, this is kind of a how-to for banks at this point. Start small, then scale up. Starting small, implementing DLT technology allows learning by doing and a gradual rollout that can be scaled steadily in a contained and controlled way. Know the known knowns. Each bank can then make internal preparations. They know their IT systems, business processes, regulatory obligations, customers, revenues, and business volumes. Define the controls, the known unknowns. Banks in the network need to collaborate to analyze and define the controls, operating rules, and the governance around them, but initially only to the detail required to start the network. Assess the growth scenario, the unknown knowns. These require a strategy for the rollout to customers, customer acquisitions, products and services to offer, transaction growth rates, new revenue streams, and the impact on correspondent banking. And finally, be agile and predictive. The unknown unknowns. Banks will have to be respondent and adapt rapidly to the dynamic demands of the network in order to evolve into the most robust end state. So guys, this isn't a color by numbers. This is an ever-moving organic system. And there are too many unknowns in the space. And I think this is why a lot of governments and FIs are still a bit trepidatious. Despite all this, I do feel like one thing is for certain. If you and I have the discipline to hodl through into the next decade, I think that would certainly change our lives for the better. Anyways, guys, that's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.